Are you good, man? How'd you draw the short straw and have to work, after hours today? Always, okay. I'll call this hearing to order. The purpose of the hearing is to take testimony regarding an amendment of several sections within Chapter 245 zoning of the Upper Allen Township ordinance for the purpose of amending certain definitions within Section 245-2.1.b related to contractors' office, shops, and yards. Remove the use of contractors' offices, shops, and yards as a use permitted by special exception in the agricultural district within Section 245-4.2, Use Table 4.1. Add the use of contractors' offices, shops, and yards as a use permitted by special exception to the highway commercial district within Section 245-6.2, Table 6-1. And to establish additional criteria for the use of contractors' offices, shops, yards, creating a new Section 245-14.18.5. The hearing was properly advertised in the Sentinel on July 1st and July 8th, 2025, and proof of publication is on file in the Township office. Information regarding the ordinance process, including a copy of the draft ordinance, has been posted on the Township's website. A copy of the public hearing notice was also posted at the Township office. The hearing tonight is being recorded by a court reporter. The hearing transcript will be made available for inspection at the Township office. Anyone wishing to view the hearing transcript should contact the Township's Community Development Department. Hearing transcripts are copyrighted, and as such, there is a fee to purchase a copy of the transcript. Any request for a copy of the transcript should be directed to the court reporter. Following tonight's public hearing, the Board of Commissioners may consider adoption of the appropriate ordinance during its regular meeting. And I will first ask for comments from Board of Commissioners. Afterward, if there's any public here that wishes to speak, you can come forward to the podium, clearly state your name and address for the record, and direct your comments to the Board of Commissioners rather than to the audience. This hearing is being recorded. Speakers will have one opportunity to speak and must limit their comments to 3 minutes. And with that, I will have Jen, do you want to introduce any materials? And then I will call on comments from the commissioners.
Yes, I will just note that the material presented before the hearing is a draft that the board has reviewed prior to this hearing and discussed. This draft has also been reviewed and discussed with the Planning Commission as well. But what it is really seeking to do is, one, amend the definition of contractor office, shops, and yards, but then also to initially remove this from the agricultural district as it being seen as more of a commercial type use that would fit better in other districts, and therefore moving that use into C2 and keeping with the industrial district as it is. Our ordinance also does not have additional criteria associated with this use or specific criteria in our Chapter 14. So it is introducing some additional criteria as well for consideration, and mainly with regards to outdoor storage and parking of vehicles and equipment, access into any adjacent residential neighborhoods, requiring a traffic study for the use, and just general location closer to our arterial and collector roads to sum that up. And then if there are any specific comments or questions from the board, I will certainly entertain those. In speaking to our solicitor prior to this, I do want to note there was some discussion from the board at the subsequent meeting about maybe making some additional changes to the ordinance that can be discussed during tonight's meeting. But if that is something that the board would like to have another hearing on rather than closing the hearing, we would suggest keeping it open and continuing it to another time to allow for discussion and public testimony concerning any of those amendments.
Thank you. So I will now open discussion and comment to the board. So feel free.
So Jen, I have a question. So currently the contractor's office is allowed to be as an accessory use in the ag zone.
No, it is not an
No.
accessory. It's a primary use.
What's the blue?
So
In your
that,
ordinance, the blue is,
the blue are the additional amendments that we would talk about at tonight's meeting concerning
all right,
the very section I just brought up where maybe keeping this use in the ag district, but only as an accessory use to an owner occupied structure.
okay, that's what I wanted. Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm now confused. So that's not what the hearing's about, blue.
No, only the original redlined
Got it.
copy is for the hearing.
But in your earlier statement about possibly not closing the hearing, if we wanted to discuss any of the proposed changes in blue font, then we would keep the hearing open and do that at a successive meeting. So,
Correct, as well as
Correct.
any other amendments
Correct.
that may arise during this
but the
hearing.
hearing tonight is only that text draft that's in red font.
Correct.
Okay.
I would observe there's no members of the public here at this point to make any comment. That's a little disappointing. So I don't know that keeping it open and having another hearing, if it's going to produce a different result. But would we be able to approve what's before us or at the BOC tonight and then amend that? I mean, that text, like similar to what we did with the sign ordinance last year. Then we be dealing with only the new changes and not, you know, a larger package.
Yes, you could do that.
Oh,
Yes, and then just like we're doing now, any future amendments would go back through that full review process before planning commission, county planning, and then another public hearing. So you would just follow that process, very similar to what we did with the sign ordinance. You're correct.
I just saw that as a way maybe to move forward incrementally. But I did want to say too, the county's comments are reflected in this language. Like they had observed about what kind of the frontage use of the property and so forth, which were good suggestions that they are before us in this text.
Right, so we incorporated their comments into our, what I call the final draft that's before you tonight for the hearing.
so then to be clear,
Yes.
currently the contractor's office, shop and yard is a permitted use in the ag district.
The contractor office shop and yard currently is permitted by special exception in the ag.
That's correct.
This would seek to remove it altogether.
Correct, but I'm trying to figure out where in the red text that is indicated.
Well, so it's actually section 3 where it says the use shall be deleted.
There it is, sure enough, right in
Yes.
front of me. Thank you.
No, no problem. And then where you see section 4, we're introducing it into the C2 district.
Right, but taking it out of agriculture
Correct.
completely.
Correct.
So not permitted, not by special exception, not by variance.
Well, anyone can apply for a variance to anything within the zoning
And so
ordinance.
then that would be, I'm seriously trying to think of
Yeah,
the agricultural community when a farmer, in addition to having equipment for his own agricultural production, has a business and goes and does custom combining or custom silage harvesting or whatever for neighboring farmers for hire. To me, that's a contractor. So is that then precluded in the ag zone if in fact section 3 is adopted?
I would say it would depend on their total scope of work because they could be classified as just sort of a professional home occupation. This is looked at as more of a commercial use where people can come to and from the site and purchase equipment, rent equipment. It doesn't matter if the property owner is a farmer or not. It is just any property owner within the agricultural district. So we weren't looking at that as a farmer who has his own equipment and then is going to another site to help someone. That could be classified as a different type of
But it's still a
business.
business.
It's still a business, but it's just like if you are also an attorney and you have an office in your home, that can be classified as possibly a home occupation that may be permitted. So there's different types of determinations when you're dealing with businesses out of a property.
Yeah, I'm just not familiar with a contractor that has people come to their office often. So my mind is like if Joe Farmer has 100 acres and also to keep his farm moving and up and running needs the side business of excavating. He has a backhoe. That's okay then, is what you're saying? Because people, he's only going to not have people come to his house. He's only going to dig trenches.
Well, this is where they're talking about if, this use talks about if we're having people come for wholesale retail trade. If it's something where we want to only allow the office part of it and not the retail or commercial or wholesale component, we could look into modifying that language to allow just the office space where you're right, a contractor has their shop set up, maybe some storage of their own equipment, but they're taking everything off site and you're not having that two-way traffic coming in. You know, we could look at that a little differently as well.
It seems to me that a farmer who's going out to help somebody or do a small job, do a trench or whatever for someone, they don't need a contractor's office for that. They don't need a shop. They probably don't need a yard. If what we're talking about is the occasional scenario where they're going out to do a small job for somebody, that to me doesn't sound like something that requires a full-blown office setup.
That's very possible. Like I said, everybody's business model is different. So when we're looking at what someone wants to do, you know, we need to know their business plan and what's going to actually occur on site to be able to make the determination. This use reads more of, as it is, a more of a commercial wholesale type business, something that you would see in our other commercial districts, not what you're describing with an individual farmer where, or a property owner in general, where yes, they could be set up as a contractor, but they're operating a lot differently than in a wholesale or retail capacity.
I hear that response. I'm not sure I buy it. There is a dairy farmer in an adjoining municipality that also has an excavation business. I don't know the breakdown of the revenue, but the excavation business is substantial and operates out of the farm, has a shop there, stores equipment there, et cetera. So I'm not sure. As I hear your response, that particular example wouldn't be allowed in our municipality.
So as I read this, the blue text takes care of situations like that because then it's an auxiliary use. So I think it's a two-step process. We need to, I think Commissioner Fairchild kind of spoke to this. We need to take out what we don't want and then add in what we do want. And we didn't talk about adding in when it was first posted, so we can't do that in one step. It's going to have to take a second step.
Agreed.
I would agree that the examples you've brought up create some difficulty in managing. And that's why I think we need to come back to this as soon as we can then and clarify it with the second step of the process, which is the blue text, as I understand it. So then it's an auxiliary use.
Yeah.
And as long as you're farming, you can do all this stuff. It's just that you can't do it as the primary business.
Yeah, I think you've expanded on what I was trying to communicate because, thank you, because we really, we need more than just dealing with the red text, and that's subsequent to this hearing, so. Okay.
One of the other interesting things, and I don't know if I'm right, this paraphrasing is correct, but I take it it's not really allowed. It's not identified in the commercial district presently, the contractor's office. I mean, that's where we're moving the language or the use.
Correct. So as it stands now, it is permitted in the agricultural district and the industrial district only.
Right, but permitted in ag by special exception.
Correct.
Permitted in commercial, whatever, by right.
Yeah, so in the
No,
industrial, it's
you're-
by right.
Strengthening, I guess, that opportunity in another district. You know, which I
Yeah,
think
and we
is
saw that
good.
from the wholesale retail component of a possible business that would fit in line with what we allow in our highway commercial district. We thought that that could be a good fit, especially if it's going to be a primary use on a property and operate in that capacity. As well as a professional office space, that's also permitted in C2. So we thought, regardless of any other changes, that that is a good fit for that type of use. And then we can all talk about how we want to move forward with, I think specifically the ag portion.
Other comments?
Well, yeah, it does not need to be a two-step process. We can make it a two-step process. We can hold off and do everything at once, or we can do this tonight and keep moving forward with the blue text at a later date.
We'll decide that at the regular BOC, right? That's how that's gonna work. And maybe some more discussion of the blue text at the regular meeting.
Well, we will at the next meeting, but I think the question before us is whether we continue the hearing or close the hearing and then take act, and then I guess you're right, Rick, we could do it as take action as a one-step or a two-step process.
Yeah,
Is
and
that
also
correct?
keep in mind that if you close the public hearing, you do not have to take action tonight. You have 90 days from the close of that
Yeah.
hearing to take action. So in the interim, if we want to talk about other amendments, we could go through that additional review and public hearing process.
But we couldn't amend or alter the red text if we close the hearing, right?
Right, we're essentially starting over.
Yep.
I mean, in theory, yes, you amend it, but you go through the review process.
You can change the red text, but you have to start back through the process again if you do that.
Correct. You can't change it and adopt it as changed. You have to go through the review process first. Yes.
So procedurally, if there's not an imminent reason to adopt the red text quickly, maybe it would be advisable to continue and then look at that along with the blue, because we're going to have to go through a subsequent process with a public hearing for the blue, correct? And then at that point, if we continued the hearing and altered anything in the red text, we could do that as a single process or single hearing process, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. I'm trying to get my head around this procedure.
Understandable. There's also more than one way to do it. So I think
could-
whatever the
We
board's
could do
most
the red text
comfortable with.
tonight. And
Yeah.
if we find something we want to change, we could change it when we do the blue text. So there's several ways to skin the cat, so to speak.
more discussion and or input in terms of thoughts related to the draft? Hearing none. Does anyone have a suggestion in the form of a motion, whether you wish to continue the hearing or whether you wish to close the hearing?
Do we have to give a hearing date? Do we have to give a specific date in which it continues to?
If we can, we should.
I'm okay. I'm probably the one who wants it kept open, but I'm okay closing it. There's nobody here. Let's just close it and have it clean, move on.
And then look at, well,
I was just gonna ask tonight if Steve or the solicitor has any final comment or wrap up or suggestion or.
do you have any suggestion procedurally?
I really think you have either option, but if you close the hearing, then at least presumably at the commissioners' meeting, there would need to be take some action as to going forward, starting the process again. So I guess I'd be inclined to continue the hearing, but you could also close it on that and then just at the commissioners meeting, I'd say, well, we're going to make additional changes, and then you kind of come back, schedule a new public hearing, give new notice, as Jen mentioned.
But if we continue the hearing, we can't act on the ordinance tonight. We have to wait till the hearings are in.
Correct. That would be the one thing that it would hold you off.
We could take action on the red tonight.
Yeah, so I like the blue, but I'd rather have it cleaner and not have staff worry about dates in the future. And so I would recommend that we close the hearing.
Is that in the form of a motion?
Sure, I move that we close the hearing.
I'll second.
Been moved in second, discussion. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed, no. Motion carried. This hearing is closed. I was gonna say adjourned, but I guess.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.